Hey, what's up, bookworms and hobnobbers? You like that one? We're going to stick with that one. We are back today to talk more Realm of the Elderlings by concluding the Farseer trilogy with Assassin's Quest by Ms. Robin Hobb, the First Lady of Epic Fantasy. And yes, you guys can kind of tell at the beginning about how I felt about this book, but there is more to it than that. You know me, I'm going to give you reasons why I kind of feel that way. But this is the final book in the Farseer trilogy, first released in 1997. And ironically enough, it was the first time I heard the name Robin Hobb, because I remember senior in high school, and there was some friends I knew that read some fantasy books, and they were like, hey, the new Robin Hobb book comes out today, and I'm like, who the hell is Robin Hobb? And they were like, so it's kind of a long time coming, because that was a long time ago, guys. It was a long time ago that I was a senior in high school. But yeah, 1997. One of the things about this is I enjoyed the first two books in this series, the first Farseer trilogy. And everyone kind of told me when I started, hey, don't take the Farseer trilogy as like gospel for what the rest of the Realm of the Elderlings is. So I went into it expecting to maybe not like all this, but I really, really enjoyed the first two books. So, did this one stick the landing? Well, we're going to talk about it now. There are going to be potential spoilers for Assassin's Apprentice and Royal Assassin in this, because I can't talk about where the characters are in this book without talking about maybe what happened in there. I'm not going to intentionally tell you everything that happened, but if you want to know absolutely nothing, I'd wait. I did a why I decided to read on the Realm of the Elderlings, and I also did a spoiler-free review of the first book in the series, which was Assassin's Apprentice. I'd recommend that you check those two out if you want to, if you're still kind of just trying to decide if you want to read this or not. Short answer, yes, you should read this trilogy. I think so. But we're going to be talking just about Assassin's Quest today. So if you haven't read those first two, I would be a little careful. Let's get into what is it about. Okay, now Fitz is about to discover the truth about the Fool's prophecy. Having been resurrected from his fatal tortures in Regal's dungeons, Fitz has once more foiled the prince's attempts to be rid of him. Now restored to his own body, Fitz begins the painful, slow process of learning to be a man again. He must learn to cast off the wild ways of the wolf and return to the human world. A world beset ever more by the relentless Red Ship raiders who are now free to plunder any coastal town they please. Regal has stripped the kingdom of its riches and retired to the inland city of Tradeford. Of Verity, on his quest to find the legendary Elderlings, there has been no word. Molly, Kettrican, and the Fool have all vanished, and unless Fitz can find Verity to help him with his quest, the six duchies will perish, and there will be no safe place left to live. And Regal will win, and we don't want that now, do we, guys? We'll dive right into it, guys, with what makes it good or bad. I always like to stick with the good first, and I'm going to say that the characters continue to be the strength of this series. I was sold on this series as Robin Hobb writes magnificent characters, and I am a character-first guy. That was a very, very good sales pitch, because it's true. It is absolutely true. The strength of this series alone is just the characters and how much you care for them. It was a very early, like chapter 2 or 3, I think, in this. And there is a chapter with Fitz and Burrich and Chade, and they're arguing, you know what, and Fitz kind of lets loose. He rips into them about everything that he's been repressing the first two books. And I was like, that's right, you let him know. You let Burrich know he's been a jerk. You let him know how you feel. Stand your ground, my man. And then Chade just like rips into Fitz, and I'm like, you're right, Fitz, you ungrateful little bastard, you know? And then Burrich is like, just like all hurt about it, and I was like, how dare you, Fitz? Burrich is a good man. So I'm like, okay, I feel for all three of these characters, you know, and they're all taking very different stances in this argument. So clearly she's done something great with the characters that she's established in the first two books, because I care deeply about these three men in a very, very positive way, and I don't want to see any of them hurt each other, even if I do agree with their gripes about one another. They are all valid, and they all have valid reasons for being the way that they are. It really does come full circle, and you understand some things that you may not have understood before. I do think getting some answers to some of the questions I've had this whole series, like what the heck are the Elderlings, what's the deal with the Red Raiders, you do get those answers in this one. I'll talk about the bad side of that here in a minute, but you do get those answers. So if you were hoping that she wasn't going to kind of leave those hanging, you're in luck. You're going to find out in this book. You're going to find out those things. It's just a matter of if you find those things satisfying or not. Another big one is Night Eyes. One of my problems with Night Eyes in the second book was like, yes, I love Night Eyes. He was just as advertised, a very cool character, but I was like, but he was never there, you know? I mean, every once in a while, he would kind of slip into Fitz's mind, and Fitz would be like, get the hell out of here, you know? That was it. that was kind of it. This one, he's pretty much there the whole time. He really is, and he continues to be one of the coolest sidekicks in fantasy. I actually, like I said, he's actually in this one for the whole book. So you get a lot. I mean, there's a quick little brief thing where he's got to go sow his wild oats with his pack kind of thing. That's fine. That's fine. But he's really front and center this whole book. And it's one of those things where actually, yeah, I can see why the fandom loves Night Eyes so much, because here I am, just his second appearance in the series, and I love him too. I just want to pet him. I just want to pet him and talk about things with him. That's it. Because you can talk with your dog. That'd be awesome. Although my dog would just talk about please feed me more food. Another big one in this is the Fool. Everyone told me when I started the series they love the Fool, and the first 2 books I was kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of like Wit from Stormlight Archive, and he just shows up and says some random shit, and I'm just left with question marks. What was that about? Was that poetry? I don't even know. This one, I think you start to finally see some things in the relationship with him and Fitz that you can appreciate a bit more. And I see where the fandom is coming from on the Fool. Still wouldn't be anyone I would consider one of my favorites. But if there are any just laugh out loud moments in this, they are the Fool in this. And like I said, I didn't find him very amusing in the first 2 books. I was more question marks than I was laughing. But this one a couple of times, it was just straight dad jokes kind of laughing too. It was some really, really good stuff. I also like that they finally leave Buckkeep in this one. I had my fill of the court life in the first 2 books. I was ready for us to leave Buckkeep, expand that world a little bit, and she does that. She does that very slowly, but she does it very well, and that'll never be a gripe because her prose continues to be one of the most magnificent that I've ever read, and you guys know I'm not a big prose guy. So if I'm noticing it, I know everyone else is noticing it, and now I see why. When my brother described A Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams to me as imagine Robin Hobb writing A Song of Ice and Fire, and I was always like, I don't know what that means, but okay. Now I'm excited to read Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn next year. But yeah, it's her writing style is just magnificent. You'll never hear me say anything bad about it. I'm going to say some bad things now. There are some things about this book I did not like. Now, guys, I want you to remember your mileage is going to vary on this. This is my opinion. I'm never going to bullshit you guys. I want to tell you how I feel about it. This book was dreadfully bloated and unnecessarily long. Beyond unnecessarily long. Look at this monster. You look at a book like this, it's pushing 900 pages, and you're like, oh my God, so much stuff should have happened in this book. And it didn't. Not a lot happened in this book. And I mean, you can look at it, you're probably yelling and being like, oh, this, and this. Yes, but did it need 900 pages to get there? No, it really didn't. I feel like this story could have been told in about 350 to 400 pages, and she's pushing 900. Yes, it really feels like that much could have been cut or summarized or just greatly excised with a scalpel because it is incredibly overlong. And I felt like it kind of got long in Royal Assassin because I said it kind of felt like they started doing the same things over and over. I was like, yeah, we already did this. I thought I was reading the same chapter again. But I understood that. That's the daily life at court. I kind of got that. With this, oh my God, man. It's just, it was so long. Now, I said that her character work is still a strength, but the new character she introduced in this really never clicked with me. I'm talking, of course, about Starling and about Kettle. Kettle kind of had a big payoff, and it was pretty cool. Never, ever gave a shit about Starling, and that surprised me because she's made me care for her characters or just absolutely despise them one way or the other in this, and I was just kind of indifferent on these 2 characters. I never felt anything one way or the other, and I think that's as a character first guy, that's somewhere where I never want to be. I never want to be to the point where I just don't give a damn either way. I don't love you, I don't hate you, I just don't even register that you're on the page right now. And not as much Kettle as much as I was Starling. I'm just like, Starling, please, just let's move on to something else because I'm not engaged one way or the other. And I'm going to be straight up with you here. If Robin Hobb was a male author, I would be calling her out for wish fulfillment here because not only does every girl that Fitz comes into contact with want to jump his bones, they don't stop trying. I mean, to the point where it's like, I'm a guy, and no guy is going to turn this down this much. Come on. I mean, let's be honest here. You're out on the road. You have no companionship. You're just going to say no because you're just a swell guy. Give me a break. Come on. That really, to the point where it just kind of took me out of it, where it was like, this character is trying to get in his pants like nonstop, and he's always like, no, no, I have a wife and a child, or not a wife and a child. Yeah, so I don't know. I know that she's trying to keep her character kind of chivalrous and things like that, and I can respect that. I can, but it was just unrealistic. It was unrealistic. I mean, I don't know anyone, male or female, that gets shot down that much and just keeps pushing like this. It became just to the point where it's like, you're trying too hard, I feel like. And I don't know. That was a gripe of mine. So yeah, these women are just straight up like thirsting for Fitz, like nonstop. And I don't know, maybe he's super dashing. I don't know. So you get these first person narrative, and these are the problems that you have. You never know how much is like him thinking he might not be the most handsome man. He might be the handsomest man in the land. I don't know. Anyhow, let's just move on. So I said I was glad that we left Buckkeep. And I am. I wanted to see more of this world, but good grief, you guys. So much walking and hunting and talking about walking and hunting and Elfbark. Holy Christ, I never want to hear about Elfbark ever again. I got no problem with her having her characters face addiction. It's a very real problem. Again, I think everything in this book is just so super over long, and you will read 3 or 4 chapters and be like, what did I just read? I can't even recall, because jack shit happened, and it happens a lot in this book. And I know that there are going to be people who love this series who will give you the big old, well, you were just kind of missing the context. No, it was walking and talking about hunting, and it was just too much, too many fever dreams, all that kind of stuff. It could have been greatly cut down. So what I said earlier is you do get your answers to a lot of those questions, but they were wholly unsatisfying for me. I feel like when you've got a book that is 900 pages long, you should not feel like the ending was rushed. And I felt like the ending was rushed. I was like, why are we taking this long to get to the final act? And then the final act, boom, pow, it's done. And there's so much Deus Ex Machina in this, I can't even get into it. The answers that you got on those things I talked about, like the Elderlings, like the Red Raiders, completely unsatisfying to me. I was like, we really have been building up to this for 3 books, and that was the resolution. It was just a complete wet fart to me. It just did not land. And yeah, just so much. I just didn't feel like she was the type of writer that was going to result to a Deus Ex Machina like she did. And it didn't make sense to me. I don't know. Just something about it just did not work for me at all. And I can't believe a book this long that something felt rushed. Everything should have felt wholly organic going this slow of a pace. It should have really just felt like, okay, it's time for this. Hey, that was worth it. I can take a slow burn. And guys, before you're saying, oh, you're just one of those guys who need action. No, I am not. Holy crap, I am not one of those guys who has to have nonstop action. I don't feel like the first 2 books had nonstop action, and I love those. So, yeah, it's just too damn long. Let's talk about why you should read it, though. If you've made it this far into the Farseer trilogy, I definitely think that you should keep going. There's no reason you should stop now. I have been told that this book here is the most divisive book in the series outside of the Rain Wilds, which I think is everybody kind of hates those. But of the Fitz books, this seems to be the one that people either absolutely love or absolutely cannot stand. And I am falling in the latter there. I definitely would not ever, like if I was doing a reread of this, I'm not sure that I would reread this again, because this, I didn't have fun, guys. I didn't. But I feel like if you want to get those lingering answers, to those threads that were presented in book 1 and 2, you need to read it. And again, you may enjoy it more than I did. To me, if you love beautiful prose, but you don't need a ton of plot development, this is going to be your jam. You're going to be right at home. You're going to love it. You like some books like that, I think that you will absolutely love this, because if all you need is someone who writes very, very pretty and not much else, Patrick Rothfuss fans will love this. They'll enjoy the hell out of this book. And yeah, I guess you call it a backhanded compliment, because you guys know I don't like Name of the Wind, but I think that Rothfuss is absolutely a gorgeous writer, for sure. Same with Hobb in this one. But this didn't have any of the emotional impact outside those first couple of chapters I talked about, like I did with books 1 and 2. Now, for my final thoughts, if you can't tell, this book was a big miss for me, a huge swing and a miss. This is the slowest fantasy book that I have read since Crossroads of Twilight and Wheel of Time. Yes, that's what I'm comparing it to, because, yes, while more happened at the end, to me it didn't feel earned, and it didn't feel worth the journey of 500 pages of walking and talking about hunting and walking through the snow and talking about Elfbark and tea. It just didn't make the journey worth it. And like I said, I don't need nonstop action. I just need something to happen. And I think introducing 2 new characters that weren't really my thing and putting them on the whole journey with them just kind of felt like it kind of dragged it down. I felt like she was so invested in her world building and her landscapes and stuff like that. She kind of let the plot suffer a bit for it. And I hope that that's not something that goes on further in this series, because I feel like that could be a problem. I'm already hesitant about the next trilogy, guys, because I'm not real big into seafaring stuff. And now we got a trilogy about ships. And so I'm already kind of like, kind of nervous. But what does this mean for the future of Realm of the Eldlings on this channel? I'm going to keep going. Now, here's the thing. I was warned about Farseer from Go, like I said, and I'm surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did. I loved the first 2 books. This one, yeah, I probably liked about 25% of it. So, yeah, okay. That's still a good ratio if you're talking about all 3 books there. I think that she's a good enough writer that I would keep going regardless, because, not every book in a 17, 18 book series, not every one of them is going to be a hit. I understand that you can have, even Jordan had a bad shooting night once in a while, right? But I feel like that she's a good enough writer that I trust her enough. This series has a big enough legacy that I was going to keep going regardless. And I'm not going to stop before I know what happens to, Fitz in the game, because there are other characters in this I don't feel like I got a good resolution on. And I'm going to want to know what's up with them in the next Fitz trilogy. And I've already bought the rest of the series on digital, so I will keep going. My plan right now is I've got a Hyperion read along right now, and then I'll be doing the Poppy War trilogy this summer, and then after that in the fall I'll be ready to dive into Live Ship Traders. So guys, if you are not angry and you're still watching, tell me what you enjoyed about Assassin's Quest. I'm sure I'll get a lot of people tell me why I'm wrong, and that's fine. Again, these are always my opinions. If you say you love this book, that's great, man. I am glad that you loved it. I hope that you loved it. I really do, because I don't want anybody to suffer through this book like I did. I enjoyed Farseer as a whole. Let me know what you thought about Farseer below. So guys, watch out. There'll probably be spoilers for the entire Farseer trilogy below, and I will talk to you guys there.